He stood alone when allies walked away and critics grew louder. A nation divided, tired and hopeless, looked to one man for direction. He did not inherit comfort. He inherited chaos, debt, fear, and broken trust. Every morning he woke before the sun, carrying the weight of millions on his shoulders. There were nights he questioned himself, but he never questioned his mission. When advisors warned him to slow down, he chose courage over convenience. When enemies predicted collapse, he answered with discipline and relentless work. He listened to the cries of workers, farmers, soldiers, and struggling families. He understood that leadership is not about power, it is about responsibility. Every decision felt like walking on a tightrope above history. One wrong move could shatter fragile confidence across the country. Yet he moved forward, steady, focused, and unshaken by noise. He rebuilt institutions that had lost credibility and strength. He demanded accountability where corruption once felt untouchable. He traveled across cities, villages, and forgotten towns to understand real pain. He spoke not with empty promises but with clear direction and action. Some called him stubborn, others called him unrealistic. But he knew that transformation always looks impossible in the beginning. He faced economic storms that threatened to drown national progress. Instead of hiding, he confronted reality with transparency and resolve. He inspired entrepreneurs to dream again and investors to believe again. He reminded youth that their future was not canceled. He strengthened alliances without compromising national dignity. He stood firm in global meetings where pressure tested his patience. He carried criticism without letting bitterness control his heart. Every setback became a lesson, every obstacle a stepping stone. He refused to blame the past. The past blamed him. He built teams that valued integrity over applause. He empowered women leaders, innovators, and young thinkers. He invested in education, knowing that minds build nations. He prioritized security because peace is the foundation of prosperity. He protected freedom of expression while demanding responsibility. He made unpopular decisions because popularity was never his goal. His goal was stability, growth, and long-term strength. There were days headlines attacked him without mercy. There were protests fueled by frustration and misunderstanding. Still, he chose dialogue over division and patience over pride. He studied history to avoid repeating its darkest chapters. He trusted data, strategy, and careful planning over emotion. He worked late into the night reviewing policies line by line. He believed that small improvements create massive change over time. Shook national confidence. He reminded citizens that resilience defines a nation. When disaster struck, he stood with victims, not behind cameras. He visited hospitals, disaster zones, and struggling communities personally. He turned moments of tragedy into movements of unity. He encouraged innovation, technology, and sustainable development. He invited criticism from experts to refine solutions. He refused to surround himself with comfort and praise. He chose honesty even when truth sounded harsh. He understood that leadership is lonely at the top. But loneliness never weakened his resolve. He prayed, reflected, and recalibrated during quiet moments. He knew that history watches every decision closely. He measured success not by applause, but by progress. He faced opposition debates with calm confidence. He respected rivals without surrendering principles. He pushed reforms that demanded sacrifice today, strength tomorrow. He taught citizens that shortcuts weaken foundations. He celebrated small victories that restored collective morale. He never claimed to be perfect, only committed. He admitted mistakes and corrected them with humility. He cultivated national pride without arrogance. He balanced tradition with modern transformation. He inspired artists, scientists, and soldiers alike. He championed unity across cultures, languages, and beliefs. He encouraged dialogue between generations to bridge gaps. He ensured transparency in governance to rebuild trust. He strengthened healthcare systems for vulnerable communities. He invested in infrastructure that connected remote regions. He empowered local governments to solve local problems. He reformed taxation to ensure fairness and growth. He supported small businesses during uncertain times. He negotiated trade agreements that protected national interests. He modernized agriculture to secure food stability. He encouraged environmental responsibility for future generations. He focused on digital transformation to compete globally. He promoted ethical leadership within every department. He held meetings that demanded results, not excuses. He challenged citizens to contribute, not complain. He reminded everyone that democracy requires participation. He strengthened defense while promoting peace initiatives. He sought innovation partnerships with global pioneers. He listened more than he spoke in critical discussions. He learned from failure faster than critics predicted. He faced personal attacks without personal retaliation. He kept his family grounded despite public pressure. He valued mentors who guided him during storms. He mentored young leaders, preparing them for responsibility. He believed that courage is contagious. He understood that fear spreads quickly, but hope spreads faster. He refused to let short-term chaos define long-term destiny. He studied economic indicators with relentless focus. He surrounded himself with experts who challenged his thinking. He demanded transparency in national budgeting. He prioritized rural development alongside urban progress. He encouraged volunteerism and community service nationwide. He strengthened judicial independence to protect justice. He improved public transportation for working citizens. He modernized energy systems for efficiency and sustainability. He fought misinformation with facts and clarity. He encouraged media freedom with accountability standards. He invested in research to strengthen competitiveness. He supported startups creating jobs for youth. He reminded citizens that discipline creates freedom. He led by example through personal simplicity and hard work. National strength. He celebrated cultural heritage while embracing innovation. He stood firm during international negotiations under pressure. He protected sovereignty without isolating partnerships. He emphasized national security with human rights balance. He prepared contingency plans for unforeseen crises. He built crisis management teams ready for emergencies. He inspired civil servants to serve with integrity. He strengthened anti-corruption frameworks nationwide. He focused on measurable outcomes, not empty rhetoric. He embraced constructive criticism to refine policies. He faced economic downturns with strategic resilience. He promoted financial literacy for everyday citizens. He empowered communities through decentralization reforms. He supported science-driven policy decisions. He encouraged transparency in public procurement. He strengthened disaster response coordination. He protected minority rights with fairness and justice. He promoted inclusive growth across all regions. He emphasized accountability in every ministry. He invested in renewable energy for sustainability. He prioritized clean water access for rural areas. He modernized transportation corridors for trade expansion. He inspired confidence in national institutions again. He challenged bureaucracy to move faster and smarter. He created platforms for citizen feedback and engagement. He focused on long-term reforms over short-term applause. He reminded the nation that unity outlasts division. He proved that one determined leader can carry a nation. He carried doubt, criticism, and responsibility without collapse. He showed that strength is built in silence. He proved that leadership is service, not privilege. He carried a nation alone until the nation learned to stand together.